Hey there, and good morning. I'm John. Today is Wednesday, April 5th, 2023. This is my daily vlog, kind of a daily stand-up where I document what I did yesterday, what I'm doing today, and the progress of my experiment of trying to make content creation a full-time, sustainable thing ever since I was laid off some months ago. I'm in kind of a good mood this morning. Some reinforcement came my way. So let's talk about yesterday. Now, on Monday, you'll recall I had completed a video, a long-form video that I got done at the end of the day, but I had saved it to release yesterday. So yesterday, I spent my time in the morning. Of course, it was podcast editing day, which took up most of the morning. And then I started some research and photography and preparation for another long-form video I have for kind of a rare piece of a kind of Atari ephemera that came around that I hadn't seen in a long time, and it showed up at my daughter's game store, as so many cool things do. So I'm working on that. I've got it on the bench, and I'm actually, been playing with it, figuring out how I'm going to present it in a way that's hopefully interesting. But the video that I produced Monday, I released at 3 p.m. yesterday. I'll throw a link up there in the corner, of course, as I typically do. And so this, I thought it was a news story. It was really, really fascinating, but I wasn't sure how well it would go, over. So I released that video at 3 o'clock yesterday. It started off pretty strong. It stayed strong throughout the evening. And as of this morning, it already has over 3,200 views. So we're talking about, about 18 hours, not even a full day. That's a really strong performance. That's probably the second strongest performance of any video in the last couple of weeks, I would guess. I think that's about right. It really well. And so that not only is it great to get a video like that out that does well, but it's getting good reactions from commenters. It's getting some traction. I spent some time on a forum where I learned about it. And I already found that there's an update that I can do maybe today. So there's that probably in the offing, but that went incredibly well. It was a strong subscriber day yesterday. So we didn't quite cross 22.2, but like 21,160 or 70. So I would think by the end of today or early tomorrow, we might make 22.2, the next 100 subscriber milestone. Look, we are inching toward 25,000. I mean, and not that subscribers do anything. I've seen several people say in different venues that subscribers are for ego and views are for dollars, right? But there's something about reaching certain thresholds. I think when someone comes to your video and they look and see your subscribers, they go, this is really bad. How does this person have so many? Or they go, this is really good. How does this person have so few? I mean, it happens a lot. I have several, creator friends who they'll get comments that say, wow, this is great. How do you only have X number of subscribers? And it's almost like a viewer looks at it and goes, oh, what's wrong with you? Why is it that you only have so many? And often it's just because you haven't been seen yet. You haven't been found. So it's doing really well. I'm pleased with the progress that it's given us, and we're pushing our way ever so slightly. I'll talk about what I've learned and what I've kind of helped reinforce in a second. But let's talk about today first. And so today is going to be, because I got enthralled in what I was doing yesterday, I didn't create any more short videos, though I did do some pre-production for some short videos, capturing some footage, doing some writing. I have several I could do. I want to chop up the podcast video from Tuesday to promote that throughout next week. And I want to get to that today. But it's another one of those days where I have a lot of things I want to do. I'm not sure which one is the best use of my time or the most enjoyable use of my time. And those two could be the same, by the way. I think it's important to note that you can find where there's an overlap between the most beneficial and the most enjoyable. I think that's the whole point. Along those axes, you find the point. That's why anyone would bother doing this foolhardy thing of hey, doing what you want to try to make money out of it. Why do that and not enjoy it, right? So I'm looking for the one I most enjoy. That also makes a lot of sense. So I have two of those that I could do. One is a quick follow-up, which I'm leaning toward probably doing for sure, because it could bolster the video. Because there's already an update to that news item that I put out the video of yesterday, and I probably could knock that out pretty quickly. And then I also have a video I'm working on that I did the pre-production on yesterday that I told you. And then I have to do the final publishing steps for the podcast because tomorrow is Thursday, new show releases. yeah, this is a little machine, and I can see how in endeavors that have larger footprints and they have more personnel, like I'm doing the jobs of several people, but I'm doing it in slivers, right? Well, what about the podcast guy? He's working. What about the video guy? What about the editing guy? You know, I'm all the guys right now, so I kind of partition my days off to do that different work. And in the interim, you know, in between, you know, finding things that are fun to do, like I'm going to do tomorrow afternoon. We'll talk about tomorrow. But so what I want to briefly talk about at the end of the video then is the success of this most recent video and several videos in the recent past, what they have told me. And what they've told me is, historically, I have listened to a lot of different external forces that say, John, you should do this video, you should do that video, this would trend really well. And I sometimes will try to dabble in that, but I always come back to the things that I find most interesting. And I keep producing those things and hope that it finds an audience. Well, it really has. And so what I'm starting to build with the GenXGrownUp YouTube channel, I think, is a focused interest of my kind of nerd. And I'm presenting things in a way that isn't, hey, I'm a fanboy, but, you know, from a serious standpoint, I'm looking at frivolous things, Atari toys, you know, gadgets, the $25 desktop gadgets, you know, but I'm approaching them from a serious standpoint as a consumer. What should you know about this? That sort of thing. And I'm starting to hear more and more as I hone in on that voice. I'm getting more and more feedback in the comments sections of my videos that say, hey, nobody does stuff quite like you. You know, I appreciate that you showed your work, kind of thing. I'm quoting MC Murr here with something he mentioned, but that was echoed by several other viewers who just like my analytical approach to what otherwise would be seen as childish stuff from our past. And because that's how I think of it. I look at it with a reverence, and so it tells me that I need to continue to go with my gut on things that I find interesting, because I'm starting to attract an audience of people that have a similar viewpoint. Not as far from the only way to accomplish this, but it's one that's working for me so far that I'm gonna keep leaning into. So if something catches my eye and I go, ooh, that's kind of cool, that now sparks my thought process to go, that very well could be something that would interest my audience. Not because it's trending, but because I saw it and I think it's cool, because I'm starting to attract people that have that similar sensibility, I think. And that is I think that's what's really starting to pay off. Now, there's a confluence of other things, of course, the popularity of something I review that did well for me and that kind of thing. But at the end, it all comes back to, do I find it interesting and cool? That's going to tell me that it's something I need to work on. There can be no better success out of this. If this becomes sustainable, to become sustainable by doing things that I find immensely interesting and would want to do anyway as a hobby, I mean, woohoo, right? I mean, that's crossing the victory line. That's exactly what, there's no point in building a house you don't want to live in. So I'm trying to build a house that I want to live in, because my hope is that I live in it one day. Okay, yeah, I have a lot of stuff ahead of me. I have to decide what things to focus on today. I'm going to get into it shortly here. I want to thank you for stopping by for today's vlog. I appreciate that you did. If you're here every day, I love that you do. Thank you so much for that. It means the world to me that you're here repeatedly and you support me. Or you're just here to see the train wreck. Whatever happens, at least you're here. I want you to have a great Wednesday. Do something good for yourself if you can. And I'll talk to you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.